All right, so I want to have a couple of you maybe ask this gentleman some questions about his company, maybe his experience, his family life, anything like that.
If you were to go back to your 25-year-old self and you had mastered sales in a different industry and you were coming back, you're starting over in real estate, what would be your strategy to build, a 7-figure profiting business with a sales background, but you know nothing about real estate?
So to build a team or get into the investment side of things?
I know nothing about real estate pretty much besides the basic concepts. So because there's a lot of different ways you can do it.
I'm going to teach you about real estate real quick. You ready? Simple math. Check this out. You have to add up what you're going to pay for it, how much it's going to cost you to make it nice, and how much your mortgages are going to be during the time it takes to do that. And if the value of it at the end is greater than the total math, that's a good deal. So the problem with real estate is people, they complicate the business. So the funny thing about me is I have no idea how to analyze and underwrite property like everybody else because I taught myself. I literally taught myself. And here's how I do it. The very first thing you do is, let's call it a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,200 square foot house. The very first thing you do is say, what is the highest price this home would sell for? So you look at other homes in the area, you find the nicest house that sold for the highest price. So say, okay, the nicest house, similar size, sold for $1 million, right? So then you look at the pictures of the house you want to buy. It looks like crap. You call a contractor. How much is it going to cost to make this crappy house look like this house? Contractor's going to say, yeah, maybe about 200 grand. Great. So then I go, $1 million minus 200,000 is 800. Well, I know to sell the house, it's going to cost me 50 grand in commissions and closing costs. $1 million minus 200 minus 50. What are we at? 750,000. I know I'm going to have some mortgage payments, probably 40 grand, 50 grand. Let's call it 50 grand. So $1 million minus 200 minus 50 is 700,000. So what did I just learn? I just learned if I bought this fake 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for 700,000, spent 6 years of my life fixing it up, listed it with a realtor and sold it, I would make what? Zero. So I want to make money, right? So my break even 700. How much do we want to make? Okay, my offer is 600. How much you want to make?
As much as you can, right?
Yeah, but you see, what you need to identify is your break even. And then from there, you figure out your profit margin. If you know your break even 700, you don't want to pay 690.
Yeah.
You want to pay 600. So it's just simple math. But the truth is, if you want to get out there and you start wholesaling, my advice to you would be to get ChatGPT. Every single one of you should never go on Google again, get ChatGPT. It will teach you everything you want to know about wholesaling. It'll build you business plans. You can tell it to teach you in my voice, it will. And get to work. 50 contacts a day. You do that, you'll be more successful than you ever thought.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question for you. So you talked about the one thing, and I own house cleaning companies. I try not to do literally anything else, but I have a lot of friends that are in house flipping. So should I give them money for their deals and be a part of their deals, or should I just not spend any of my attention in that at all and just keep building my house cleaning companies?
Good question. I think if you have extra cash that's not invested, then you should invest in the deals as an equity partner or as a private money lender. And if you're going to be a private money lender, I would go in there at 9-10%
I would
interest.
say how good are your friends at what they do?
That was my next question. How do
If
I
they're
vet?
not that good, I'm not sure I'd give them money. If they're really, really good, I'd probably give them money.
Right. So would you recommend then, because potentially I get an outsized return going with someone who's smaller and has skills as opposed to partnering with a big guy in the space and just giving him money for his fund or whatever? What would you do if you were me?
Oh, I mean, that's a tough question. So if you're talking about giving your money to someone to go flip that doesn't have the experience, way too risky. Now, if you can be in a first lien position or if there's skin in the game, that changes things. And also it depends on how you want to structure the money. So if you were to lend on a property, you would want to find out what are the total debts on it, what is it worth, and just make sure that you're not putting your money at maximizing the value.
Right.
That
So
makes sense.
the amount of time I'd have to spend to learn that would not be worth it then.
I'd diversify some. I'm an investor with, Pace Morby.
Yeah.
He's established. I know what he's doing. Every 90 days I get money back. It's not huge returns, but I know it's going to work. If I knew somebody barely and they just barely got into it, I'd really have to be
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cautious
So like,
about that.
for example, if you're an accredited investor, you could partner with me on deals at TEM Capital. Like that's what you would want to do versus giving your money to someone that's, especially in today's market.
Higher risk, yeah.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Welcome.
Let's go one or two more questions. Who else we got?
Come on, Pete. I know you have a question back
Let's
there.
roll it.
I got a quick one.
What's your name?
My name's Kevin,
And what do you do, Kevin?
wholesaler flipper
Hey,
here.
all right.
We actually just closed the one today. Thanks
Nice.
for the,
Well done.
thanks for the stuff. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. You know, it's busy with the littles and with business owner, wife at home. What's the biggest lesson you learned that you would have wanted to change in how you were a dad and a husband with kids that age running the business?
Man, great question. So with my third baby, I'm older, more established. The experience is much different than my first two. I'm present, I'm there, my mind's slower. I think it's extremely important to carve out time to spend with your kids with 0 distractions. And when I say carve out time, I'm not talking about 4 hours or 5 hours. I'm talking about 30-minute blocks. 30 minutes one-on-one playing, no phone, no nothing. And if you study like children's psychology, that short window of that one-on-one time is exponentially more valuable than hours with them on the phone. And so it's very important to schedule one-on-one time with your kids.
Thanks.
Yeah,
That's
you're welcome.
that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Britt Shane. I help people launch and grow product companies. I actually have a question for both of you because I know that you've mentioned delegating and then focusing on, income producing tasks. After all of that, once you get to the level you're at, how do you decide where to spend your time? Because I feel like that's right. You both do a lot and people will tell you as you first beginning, just do one thing. Once you're way past that, then what? How do you decide?
Eat That Frog is a book, and it talks about taking on your biggest challenge of the day first. So every day, every week, every month, every year, we identify what are the goals, how are we going to get there, and what is the most important thing today that we should be working on. So it's about, taking down the most important things first. So if I have 10 things to do in a day, I would say, okay, what is the number one most important thing that has the highest return? That's what I work on first.
Focusing on money when you're eating the frog. Okay.
Always.
What's behind your question?
Why?
Yeah, what's behind it?
Because a lot of people told me to do one thing. So I did one. I did not do one thing. I did a lot of things. And then a lot of things started working. So now I have a lot of things going on. And then I delegated and then focused on the money. And so now I kind of wake up every day and there's everything's pretty systematized and I kind of don't know where to spend a lot of my time, but I want to be focusing on something without adding way more stuff to the plate.
I know what you should do. You should sit down alone and write down what you're excited about, what you're passionate about, and that's where you spend your time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you've already got multiple streams of income or whatever you got, if you don't really care about growing those, like there could be one could be way bigger than it is. If you're really focused on money, then do that. If you're more focused on impact or whatever, then I would just go that way.
I love that. I tend to only do things that I really wanted to do. So I do moderately like everything. So it kind of makes it really hard to be like, where do I go all in? Because I'm really bad at doing things I don't want to do. So
I always say, become a master of the one thing.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to really do anything in your life. So you become the master of that one thing, and then once you've mastered that, then you can kind of diversify a little bit. But I see a lot. It's very rare that somebody starts like a bunch of different things all at the same time, and they just magically all work out.
Yeah.
I've hardly ever seen that at all.
There was a lot of failure there, and then
Yeah.
time, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
closed the things that didn't work also, like I said. I didn't want to be bad at things. So I just
master that one thing, and once you've gotten to that level, then you can look at diversifying for sure.
Agree.
Thank you,
Become an
guys.
expert in one thing for sure.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Jeremy Miner here. Look, a lot of you leave comments wanting me to help you sell more. So the easiest way to get a hold of me, the quickest way, is to text me. So text me right now. It's 480-637-2944. So 480-637-2944. Listen, I started this company to help you learn how to close more deals, but do it the right way. Text me right now. Let's get back to the training video.
We got one last question.
I hired John, and business has taken a complete 180 turn. So Tarek, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we're also a wholesale business. We do nationwide novation type transactions. We've been doing it for several years. We've done $10 million worth of transactions over the last few years, focusing on our first $4 million year. the big part is scaling and finding the right people, and that's what we need help with. So, what are your thoughts on that?
That's the hardest part, is the people. I have a lot of thoughts on that. My biggest mistake throughout my entire career has not been letting people go. And it's been allowing the wrong people to work for me, and me allowing people to not perform, me thinking people are going to change, me thinking they're going to want more for them. And then I've come to the conclusion that you're never going to get someone to want more for themselves unless they want it for themselves. So it's very, very important to let people go that aren't the right people, and always be looking for the right people. So what does that mean? Today, I have all the right people. I've cleaned house so many times. And even though I still have all the right people, I'm still looking for the right people, if that makes sense. Because honestly, out of every 10 hires, I know this sounds crazy, there's going to probably be one keeper out of every 10. That's how you guys have to look at this. Out of 10 hires, I know it sounds crazy, one's going to be a keeper.
Yeah,
That's
and
huge.
I got something for you. So a mentor of mine in my corporate career, his name's Todd Peterson, was the founder of Vivint. They had like an $11 billion exit with Blackstone a couple of times. He told us, I still remember this to my day, we were in the executive boardroom, and we were sitting there, he was talking strategy, and he said, look, as the company grows, you have more cash flow. Okay, so at the very beginning, a lot of times, I know for 7th Level, the first couple of years, we just like threw bodies in there. You're like, oh, you're average at sales, why don't you be a head of operations?
Yeah.
With no operations experience,
Yeah.
but we needed a body, right? So we just like throwing bodies left and right in there. But as your company grows, Todd always told us, as the company grows, you're going to have some people that were with you from the very start, and they're going to learn and grow with you. Like they're going to master more skills. They're going to take it seriously. They're going to be committed. They're going to grow with you, and those people will be with you forever. Then there's going to be others that just kind of stay at the same level, and once you get to the first stop on the train, they're going to get off, and then you've got more cash flow now to get better people, and a new person hops on the train and goes down that path. So the point is like as you make more cash, as you keep more of it in your business, you have the opportunity to hire better people at those positions, and those better people take your business to a different level. But like you said, that could happen several times in the next 10, 15 years for you.
But here's where you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Because what you just said, I believed. So I was making more money. I was paying a lot more for staff. I was hiring better people, and it turns out they were no better.
You got to find the right people.
You got to, even though they're more expensive and they're more knowledgeable, they still got to be the right people.
So
and
where do you find those people? Is the
honestly, the best way to find them is from people that work for me that are performing. Who do you know that you like, that you trust, that you would want to sit side by side you working in this office? And that is the best way to find people.
100%. You get more cash flow, better people, but you got to find the right. You got to find the right people. You got to really find the right people below you. Like if you're the owner of the business, because it's not like Tarek interviews them. I don't sit there and interview them. You got to find the right people that actually know what to look for, because it's going to be that executive staff that you have that's going to determine where your company scales. Without a really good executive staff, you can have the best thing ever, and you're just never going to scale. And get people loyal to you.
1,000%.
I learned that the hard way. I know you did.
What's that?
You got to get people like your executive staff, like the people close to you, got to be the most loyal to you. I know you learned that the hard way too. I did too.
Yeah. Loyalty.
Yeah. Okay, let's take one more question.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stan. My question is for the young generation like me. We all know that the work ethic is one of the keys for success. Could you give us like 60 seconds masterclass of work ethic? How to build it, how to improve it?
It doesn't even need to be 60 seconds. It'll be 1 second. Do it. You want to lose weight? Do it. You want to get more muscles? Do it. You want to eat healthier? Do it. You want to go for a walk? Do it. You want to get into real estate? Do it. You want to flip a house? Go do it. Stop talking about it. Stop reading about it. Stop watching about it, and go do the shit. Like he says it. So just do it. So literally do it. That's my best piece of advice.
Yeah, it's just do it, and it's coming back to I always say, because when I had my corporate career, we had like 8,000 employees there. So in my own firm, we have like 120. So I feel like a little ant. For a sales training company, that's big, but I feel like an ant compared to where I've come from. But I always say that with the more people you have, it's like you have to, when people say like, oh, well, we got to look for people that only fit our culture. Well, if that's the case, you're never going to scale, because there's going to be some people that just don't fit the culture. You know, you start getting 100, 200, 300, 400 employees. Not everybody's going to fit the culture 100%, but you can build people into the identity of the person who fits the culture. That's the difference. That's the same with sales. You can build the prospect into the identity of the person who does accept the offer, who does buy. That's your job as a salesperson. So if you're a leader in that company or the owner, you can build people into the identity of the executive that you want them to be. You just have to learn how. You have to learn the skills how.
Let me ask you, what do you want to do? I said do it, so what do you want to do?
My purpose in life is to help people, to make people happy, and I'm discovering what is the one or two or three things that I want to.
Okay.
Be the
So
best
most
at.
people don't realize being a real estate investor or a house flipper or a wholesaler is taking care of people. Because here's what most people don't realize. When I'm buying junky houses, most of the time, I'm not buying it because of a junky house. I'm buying it because the seller's in a junky situation. So typically, homes are sold because the seller's going through financial hardship, they're going through divorce. And then there's two ways to approach these people. One, like a snake, try to get everything you can from them. Or two, you treat them the way you would want to be treated, pay them a fair price for their home, help coordinate movers, help them move on with their lives.
Yeah.
And now, does that sound interesting to you, helping people and making a lot of money? Great. Step one, you know what you want to do now. Step two, I'd go on ChatGPT and I would ask it for a business plan to get started tomorrow. And you want to talk to 50 people a day. Say, what 50 people should I talk to if I want to wholesale or flip houses? It will tell you everything you need to do. The last step, you just got to do it.
Yeah, it's just like the gentleman that was before you. That's the question. I believe he's one of our new clients. His, once he got in there, learned the skills, like his business, blew up, right? And it's blowing up. So it's the same thing. You're one of our clients. I just saw you at one of our last events. Get in there. His industry is the second largest industry we train. So if you want to get in there, do it. Remember, we talk about selling something you do to people or selling something you do for people. So Tarek's what he's saying is you're doing it for them, so they don't get their credit destroyed. They, like these people's lives depend on you doing it for them. You just got to learn the right skills to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.